Hello students, today I am going to start the new lesson, that is Indian Freedom Movement. Okay, so this Indian Freedom Movement is also called as a Indian National Movement, are a series of activities that took place with the ultimate goal of bringing an end of the British rule in India. Okay, and this movement during Indian freedom struggle spanned for 90 years, that is from 1857 to 1947. Okay, and it has also been observed that the struggle for this independence in India had been a merging of the various causes, that is political, economic, social, cultural. Okay, and all these causes led to the rise of nationalism. Okay, so now let us know what is the meaning of nationalism. Nationalism is the germination of the feeling that we are one, okay, in the mind of the people of the distinct geographical area. Okay, so that's the meaning, that feeling of oneness among the people. Okay, so this feeling of oneness led to the growth of the national movement in India. Okay, and it is called as a national movement because it represents the people, that means the whole, that is majority of the Indians. It is a national movement because it includes the aspiration of the majority of the Indians. Okay, and people started involving, that means looking beyond their regional, that means all the people of the different regions, they began to involve in this movement and began to feel that they are all one, they are all Indians. Okay, and they began to regard as a single nation. Okay, and themselves as a part of it. Okay, so this is the beginning of the spirit of nationalism. Okay, and there are various reasons for the growth of nationalism, that is introduction of Western education, uniform administrative system, economic exploitation, realization of heritage, socio-religious reform movement, inspiration of the first war of independence, and racial discrimination. Now let us see one by one. Okay, introduction of Western education, that is the British introduced English education in the schools and colleges. This they have introduced in order to see that more and more number of clerks to be generated, so that they can be employed in the office that they have established. Okay, so as a result, what happened, this introduction of English education has become a boon to the Indians. That is, this English education had made the youths, that means Indian youths, okay, they enabled them to read the books, okay, of the great thinkers of the Europe. Okay, and they were also able to get the ideas, that is the liberal ideas of the West, that is nationalism, democracy, freedom. Okay, so all this concept they were able to get it through the study, because they had got the knowledge of the English education, no? So they were able to read the books of the great thinkers of the Europe. Okay, and they were enlightened with the ideals like democracy, freedom, and nationalism. Okay, so this spirit of nationalism, that is the spirit of freedom and democracy, instilled in the mind of the people a desire of a freedom. Okay, so this is the one of the reasons. So like this, the knowledge of Western education was one of the inspiration for the unification of the vast empire, that means a vast country, and develop the feeling of oneness. Okay, the next important cause is that means uniform administrative system. That is, the British introduced the uniform administrative system. That means even they included even the India also under this administrative system. Okay, where they enabled that, made the Indians that they are all are equal before them. But various laws and acts that they have implemented, that is the British implemented, were not favorable to the Indians. Okay, and they were annoying to the people. Okay, so this also led to the growth of a consciousness among the people. Okay, The third reason is economic exploitation. You know that after the establishment, that is with the establishment of the British rule in India, let the country, that means made the people economically, made India economically exploited. That means you know that India was famous, that means noted for the handicraft industries, okay, and Indian handicrafts had become very popular and also had won the fame in the outside also, that is in the outside countries also. But with the coming of the Britishers to India, what happened? Machine made goods had started coming to India and made the Indian handicrafts to close. It means many of the Indian handicrafts were forced to close. As a result of that, millions of craftsmen and the artisans, they lost their job, okay, and that led to the poverty, okay. And again you could see that Indian rulers, they were supposed to pay the salary and the pension to the British officers. So what happened? All our wealth had began to drain to the British. Okay, so this is also one of the reason for the economic. And again, there were repeated famines, and each famine is followed by an epidemics, okay, and which also resulted a misery to the people. So educated Indians, they felt that the British led many people, that is millions of people, to die of starvation in their own country. So this is also one of the reason for the cause of the growth of nationalism. Okay, next is realization of heritage. Okay, many foreign writers like William Jones, Max Muller and Cunningham, okay, through their study, enabled the Indians to know that the historical and the cultural heritage of India, okay, so thereby it was made to confirm, that means it was made them to understand that the Indian history and the culture is not that is, it is no way inferior to that of a Greek and a Rome. Okay, so this root of nationalism in the form of a knowledge of heritage is also one of the reason for the growth of nationalism. I think you all understood. Many social, that is, many foreign writers, no, they studied our scriptures, it means our historical books, okay, and they made the people to understand that, enable us to know that our history or the cultural heritage of India, it is not inferior to that of the Greek and Rome. Okay, so this root of the root of nationalism also evolved in the form of a knowledge, okay, in the mind of the people. Socio-religious movement. Okay, the second half of 19th century is considered as a period of awakening or a reformation. Okay, there were several reformers in the 19th century like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Dayananda Saraswati, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Vivekananda, Annie Besant. Okay, all these reformers fought against the social evils that were existed in those times. That is, the social evils like caste system, idol worship, child marriage, sati system, all these there were existed. Okay, and these reformers, they tried to remove these evils. Okay, and they generated confidence and pride among the Indian people that which had sunk in the Indians. Okay, so this urge, that means the urge of these reformers, and enable the people, that means among the Indians, the urge for freedom. So this is also one of the reason for the growth of nationalism. The next important factor that grow the nationalism is inspiration of the first war of independence. Okay, the year 1857 is an important year in the history of India because it was a moment, it is in the year 1857, the whole, it means the people of India combined together and they revolted against the British. Okay, so this 1857, okay, it's a movement wherein the rulers, it means kings, then commoners, and even the Muslims, and even the soldiers, all of them joined together to shackle, that means to drive away the British rule in India. But it was a great failure. Okay, in spite of this great failure, the memory of this result remained in the mind of the people, that means remained in the mind of the Indians. Okay, so this is also one of the inspiration for the Indians to grow the nationalism, that is to fight against the freedom, that means fight against the British for freedom. Okay, The next important cause is racial discrimination. What do you mean by racial? That means color difference. Okay, the British had a view, that means they always thought that they are superior. Okay, they are considered as a superior to the Indians. Okay, and they were always proud of their complexion and of also culture. Okay, and they looked down upon the Indians as a uncivilized, and also considered all the Indians, that is racially and socially inferior. Okay, because of the dark complexion. Okay, but Indians were not, even you could see the discrimination were made in the Indians, that is when the Indians were traveling in the railway, or when they go to hotel, they were not allowed in the place wherever the Britishers were there. Okay, Indians were not allowed to travel in the compartment where the Britishers were traveling. Okay, and even in the hotels also, the place wherever the Britishers were there, the Indians were not allowed to enter the hotels also. Okay, and even in the administration, that is in the office of the British, all the higher posts were reserved to the Indians and the lower posts were meant to the Indians. Okay, so like this you could see a lot of discrimination. Okay, and this discrimination naturally created unanimity among the Indians. Okay, who were who were exploited by the rulers and also even their policies. Okay, so this factors led to the growth of national consciousness among the people, and thus enabled them to unite together and fight for all this injustice against